Today, we become legends.
Alright boys, so I've already had a video made for today, that should be out already. By the time I put this one out, it was the top 3 gods for every role. But bonus balance update notes have gone live, and so we're going to cover those for you. Some pretty overdue changes in this patch, I feel like, and also a few that I think have been missed, and a few that are a bit of a miss in general. There's some really good changes, there's some really confusing changes, and some that should have been there that aren't. Bit of a weird patch, but we'll go over it now. So, Soul Surge, they've decreased the spirit health scaling from 100 to 70. This makes complete sense. The spirit minions are way too hard to kill for some reason. They're like way tankier than like any jungle camps at basically all points of the game. And so that makes sense. To be honest, I just hate these things. I think they should make them not have ranged attacks. I think they should only be able to be like, you know, once they're pulled, they should just run at you and do like swipes, because it's really annoying when they just aggro to you when you're trying to back and they just ping you with a ranged attack. If they were melee, it'd be much easier. You know, they should make them melee, and they only get pulled to you if you're, like, in melee range or if you hit them. That would, like, stop a bit of the issues with backing and stuff like that. That's just a change they should do, in my opinion. But this is also good, because they were, like, too hard to kill for no reason. Maybe they'll make some bigger changes to, like, the frustration factor of the Soul Surges in the main 10.7 patch, I suppose. On to actual item changes, though. First up, we have Sunder. All forms of Sunder will now no longer stack the damage debuff, which is huge. Granted, the item will still be as strong as it was, other than Sundering Blast, which we'll get to in a second, if you're not double pressing it on someone, but it's that double press that really you can just, like, delete, like, anyone with that double press of it. And so this makes sense, it's a good change. It's regular, just one Sundering someone won't really change, other than the Sundering Blast, but that double Sunder, it probably shouldn't have stacked in the first place, to be honest, and Sunder's a super strong relic, so a good change overall. For Sundering Blast, they've also specifically decreased the damage dealt from 15% of current health to 10%, so you're no longer going to be taking, you know, like, probably in total about 25% of your health from a double Sundering Blast. It's going to go down to, you know, probably somewhere closer to about 18% or something like that, because obviously once you take one, your health goes down, and so you're not taking a full 30 or a full 20, it's a little bit less than that, but yeah, good changes overall. Sunder's super strong, good to see that. Horrific Emblem as well, not a relic we see loads of, but in my opinion, very strong and underrated. And also, they've decreased the damage so much in this patch that it makes sense that they will kind of make this change. Gone from 15 to 10% on all the upgrades, and also Emblem of Increasing Peril, they've decreased the stacking damage debuff from 10% to 5%. I'm not sure how many times this stacks. Maybe 3? So, like, overall, a very big nerf to Emblem of Increasing Peril. And so you would go from 45% damage dealt reduction, which is absolutely huge if you get this fully stacked. If it is 3 stacks, I might be wrong on that, but I think it is. You go from 45 to 25%, so big nerfs to Emblem of Increasing Peril there. Yeah, it makes sense considering how much damage was removed from the game. If you get hit by this and this fully stacks up, you're going to be dealing, like, no damage, so it makes sense to see the change, even though we don't see loads of Horrific Emblem, but I think it was strong, so overall pretty good there. I like these 2 relic changes. Moving into some actual items, though. First up, we have Flameforged Hammer, which is an interesting one. They've decreased the bonus damage on the passive from 5 plus 10% of your prots to 5 plus 7% of your prots, and also decreased the dot duration after leaving the area from 3 seconds to 2 seconds, so big nerf on Flameforged Hammer. A lot of the damage that was going to be coming out of this was that 3 ticks after you leave the area. That's now going down to 2 ticks, because it's quite hard, except for on specific gods like Horus, to keep them in that Flameforged area for like an extended amount of time. Really, you would just get 1 or maybe 2 ticks of them in the area, they'll leave, and then they'll get 3 more ticks, but now they're only going to get 2 more ticks, so it's overall decreasing the damage output of this item pretty substantially between this change and this change over here. Personally, I didn't see Flameforged Hammer as a massive issue. Maybe they have stats internally that's saying this item's really strong, and maybe it's just being a little underrated or something like that, but I feel like it was strong, but not super broken, and they haven't touched Pribwin here. I feel like Pribwin is the much bigger issue than Flameforged Hammer, if I'm going to be completely honest. Especially Red Pribwin. You know, vast majority of solo laners and even some supports are picking up Pribwin right now. Whereas you only see Flameforged Hammer very occasionally on specific picks like Horus. Even on Thor, where Flameforged Hammer is really good, he still picks up Pribwin a lot of the time, because Pribwin's pretty much just as good. Yeah, Pribwin should have absolutely been touched in this patch, and it hasn't. Don't know why. Pribwin by far the stronger of the 2 items in terms of the glyphs it's got, and they've hit Flameforged Hammer. Probably deserves to be hit. Probably doesn't deserve to be hit this hard, in my opinion, and also, where is Pribwin? Like, Pribwin should be hit as well, especially Red Pribwin. But they've also touched down the damage on Manticore spikes from 4% to 3%, and of course that also affects if you're the owner, where you get the double values from 8% down to 6%. Perfect nerf in my opinion. This item was a little too strong, and they haven't gutted it, you know, they haven't gone down to 2 and 4, they've gone down to 3 and 6. I think this is perfect. The item was just a bit too strong, it should now be in a pretty good spot. Probably still going to be picked up a lot on the gods that use it well, but you might see a little bit less of it being picked up on these gods that just have one hard CC and they're just picking it up for the good base stats and the bonus damage. You know, maybe this is going to be a little bit more specific now. Maybe you want gods with 2 hard CCs in their base kit, or like a really strong ultimate that can like combo in and get those spikes off, whereas in the current meta, you were just building this on basically anyone. Like, you're building this on Raven, who just has a root, and that's it. That's the only way he procs Manticore spikes. And so it might be a little bit more of a specific item now. And overall, just bringing down the power level of this item is completely fine. This is where a lot of, like, tanks' random burst damage comes from. You know, this and Pridwin. Archdruids is also strong and maybe needs to be touched down. But yeah, Pridwin and Manticore probably the main 2 issue items. I don't know why Pridwin's not here. Don't ask me. Absolutely should be. Moving into some more items, though, we have some mage item shifts. So Obsidian Shard now gets 20% pen on the bonus from the passive, bringing it in line with Titan's Bane. I think this is fine. I don't think that necessarily mages needed more percent pen, but you know, because they're already building Coin and Shard in a lot of builds where they have 40% and 50% with this passive, and it isn't really the mage's job to delete the tank, it's the hunter's job, but I mean, we are in a tank meta. I'm kind of okay with giving mages some more pen and ability to kind of deal with tanks diving them. Obviously, tanks are meant to kill mages and hunters are meant to kill tanks. It's not meant to be that mages are meant to kill tanks, but some more pen I think is fine. Tanks are insanely strong right now, so I think it's completely fine to let mages have a little bit extra. And this just brings it in line with Titan's Bane, which makes the game look a lot better as well. I know it's pointless, but I'm kind of for those kind of changes where the game just looks and feels better. You know, you see this item that is a mirror of the physical and magical side, but for some reason the magical one had 10% less, mainly because of magical pen issues in the past. But yeah, I'm fine with this change. A bunch of stuff here where they're sorting out the tier 2 items having more power than the tier 3s. I don't know how it took them a month to fix this, but that's going to be changed in this patch. So they've decreased the power of Book of Souls and increased the power of Book of Thoth. This item's still dead, don't build it. Rejuvenating Heart gets more, so it has more than the tier 2. Talon Trinket goes down and Typhon's goes up, and Enchanted Ring goes down as well, so the rings won't have more power at tier 2. Warlock Staff, they've also fixed an issue where it provides an additional 25 HP when evolves, so it now states that it does. I didn't even know about this. Apparently this just gains an extra 25 HP when it evolves. Pretty inconsequential overall, but now people know that it does that. Moving into the God nerfs, we have Bakasura, going to reduce his active cooldowns with Eat Minion 1.5 seconds instead of 2 seconds. Completely fine. Bakasura's pretty strong right now. I did my top 3 gods for every role video today, as I mentioned at the start, and Bakasura, in my opinion, is a top 3 jungler. You could argue for him only being top 5. I think there are a lot of other strong junglers right now, but yeah, Bakasura is definitely overtuned. Bringing him down a little bit is fine. I probably would have rather seen an increase to the base cooldown of this ability instead, because that also hits his farming instead of just like his fighting aspects. But I guess they don't want to backpedal on the change they made where they massively reduced the cooldown of Eat Minion, so I can kind of see why they did this. Fenrir, Seething Howl, this ability gives way too much, so now it's going to give less. This should have been touched in the main patch in my opinion. You know, it's pretty obvious that when you're reducing the amount of power in the game by 30% and you don't hit one of the biggest, probably the biggest power steroid in the game outside of ultimates, this should have been hit in the main patch. But yeah, they're bringing it from 20 to 80 to 15 to 55, so pretty substantial nerf there. You know, especially for his auto attacks. You know, at max rank you're losing 25 damage on each auto. That's pretty significant. Also, Brutalize has something ridiculous like 180% power scaling, so going to hit the Brutalize quite substantially there as well. Going to make Bruiser Fenrir a little bit worse because he really was just kind of abusing those free stats. Bruiser Fenrir will still always be good because he just has a kit that works well with that. You know, he has an inherent power steroid, he has a stun on his engage, he has Brutalize, which just hits really hard even with no power. He has the ultimate that's very, you know, control kind of ultimate, so he will always be strong as a Bruiser, but bringing this down makes complete sense. Discordia gets a similar treatment. They've just decreased the power offered by her passive a little bit. Won't affect things too much, but Discordia's strong anyway, so fine to see a nerf here, and also just something they probably missed in the main patch in terms of bringing down the power of god abilities as well as items. So, these Guan Yu nerfs, dude. I'm confused. They do this a lot with the bonus updates, where they're just way behind the meta for some reason. It feels like they design these patches like 3 weeks before they're meant to go live or something. They probably don't do that, but this just feels way behind the meta. They've hit him super hard. They've increased the cooldown on Conviction. They've decreased the base damage on Talo Assault. This ticks 10 times, so it looks like a small decrease, but it's 10 times this amount of decrease, so it's 30 damage at all ranks that they've taken off it there. And also Cavalry Charge now scales up in its stun instead of being 1.5 at all ranks, which is pretty huge. You know, it takes a while to get your ultimate to max rank, so I just think this is way behind the times, dude. Guan Yu's not a top solo laner anymore. You know, Guan Yu was a top solo laner last patch. This patch, he really isn't. There's a lot of other strong stuff like Raven and Thor and stuff like that, so I really don't think this was needed, if I'm going to be honest. Maybe one of these nerfs, but not all three of them. They didn't need to hit Guan this hard, in my opinion. He's really not a top solo laner anymore. He's still strong, which is why I think maybe one of these nerfs will be justified, but a lot of other solo laners have kind of taken over the meta, and Guan doesn't really see that much play anymore. He's still fairly popular, but I think this was a little bit overkill and a little bit behind the times in terms of this patch. Little bit confusing on that one, you know. No Raven nerfs, no, like, Pridwin nerfs, but you're nerfing Guan Yu this hard. A little bit confusing. But finally, we have a change to my Ikaros ultimate, where it's now going to be 3% shred per stack instead of 4%. Yeah, and this ability hits 8 times in total, so they're going to be bringing the percent pen down. It used to be 40% release. It went to 32%, now it's gone down to 24%. That's much more reasonable in my opinion. He's still going to be very strong in that role of like enabling double hunter comps, diving the backline with that percent shred and allowing the rest of your team to kind of follow up on it. Still going to be an incredibly strong ultimate. It still has ridiculous damage, but it's now going to be shredding a little bit less. You know, still keeps him safe, all that kind of stuff. But I think this is a reasonable place for the shred to be at, 24% if you hit all the shots, which, I mean, hitting all the shots is very easy, so you can basically call this 24% pen. But yeah, good nerf for Mati Ikaros. Good nerf for Mati. Guan Yu changes I'm confused about. Disco's fine. Fenrir's fine. Baka's fine, though I probably would have increased the base cooldown. They fixed a bunch of the tier 2 item stuff. Obsidian Shard change is pretty good in my opinion. Mountain Cosback change is perfect. Flameforged is okay. I probably wouldn't have nerfed it this hard. I maybe would have just done one of these changes and see where it is, because I don't think it's that strong right now. And where is Pridwin? As I mentioned, why is Pridwin not here when Flameforged Hammer is here? That makes no sense to me. And then the relic changes, both really good in my opinion. So a relatively small patch. They're probably going to do some bigger changes in the main 10.7 update, which we'll be getting probably relatively soon, I think. And, you know, going to be some hype for Charon and all that stuff. But yeah, overall, I'd probably give this patch like a 7 out of 10. There's absolutely some misses, but there's some important changes here that needed to be made. So yeah, just a quick update video for you guys. Let me know what you think of the changes down below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can catch all these update videos. I try and get them out to you guys as quick as possible as soon as the patch notes drop. So yeah, subscribe so you don't miss any of those, and I will catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.